Hello guys, Indie Swarm here, and today I'm going to talk about something that's not necessarily 100% game related, but it is big in the gaming industry, so I thought, it would be a good topic to bring up here, and that is industry practices versus consumers just being unwise about their decisions. I really think there is a lot of stock put on developers doing, shady things, bad things within the industry, and I do not say for a second that this stuff doesn't exist, because it very clearly does. There's all kinds of shady stuff developers do. They put out poor product. There is a lot wrong with the industry, but also I know a lot of people try to pawn off their unwise decisions as a consumer on the industry. And a lot of people try to do that. A lot of people try to justify it by saying, the industry did this, they did that, they shouldn't be doing this, blah, 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 blah. And a lot of times I think, you just gotta watch what you buy. I don't think a lot of people do that anymore. I think people, just kind of buy whatever and whatever way they want, don't really think about it at all, and then they get mad after the fact, but then they're not willing to take responsibility and say that, they pretty much did it themselves. So, I want to know your guys' thoughts on this. Do you think that consumers, aren't being smart, or it's all the industry's fault? The industry has bad practices, so there's really no way for the consumer to win. I know I definitely think there's a lot of fault with consumers, and here's one of the big...
People will read reviews, and then based off that review they will buy the game. I think that is a terrible way to do it. Reviews are helpful tools, but never let a review dictate whether you should buy the game. Reviews, everybody has their own slant. If I wrote a review today on a game, then that is biased. If a human being writes a review, it is going to be biased. There's no way around that. One way or another, there's going to be some type of bias with it. And that being said, I definitely think you should use reviews maybe to get a feel for the game, hear what people are saying about it, but no way should you ever base getting a game on a review. Normally the better way to do it, I think, is to maybe watch some gameplays. They definitely help a lot. They actually show the product in action. You see what you do in the game. And I think that is a lot better way to do it. Or talk to a friend. Friends can normally gauge your interest a lot better. There's a lot of games I like that I tell friends they should not get because it will not suit their interests. And that's how you gotta look at it. Reviews are very broad, and a lot of times reviewers are paid to say certain things. A lot of times they really don't do a very good job explaining the game at all. They just kind of throw out a bunch of appealing words, and writers are hired for this for a reason, because they know how to make something seem appealing even when it may or may not be. And just a lot of times they do not really give you a good picture of the game. It's a lot better if you can just see the game being played first. And then a lot of people also try to say that pre-ordering is bad and downloadable content is bad and it's just killing the industry. There are some bad DLCs and there are some bad pre-orders, but people don't want to make the effort to differentiate. They just want to be force-fed information and believe it. They want someone to formulate an opinion for them, because people have just gotten so lazy now, they won't do their own research. Pre-orders can be bad. I made a video saying why you should pre-order Fallout 4 specifically, but games in general. But that is a general statement. It can be good, and it can be used for good. But of course you gotta watch out what you pre-order. I personally did not pre-order Mortal Kombat. Why? Because they took a character that is in the game code. You turn the game on, you go to the character list, Goro is on that list. You just can't play him. So he is already in the game. And then they're forcing you to pre-order if you want him. No, that's ridiculous.
Of course that is asinine. Why would anybody do that? I mean, if you want Goro, you know, they're trying to force your hand to pre-order. I'm not that pressed about it. So, you know, I let that one go. NetherRealm can keep their pre-order, and, you know, I did end up getting Mortal Kombat eventually, but no, that is ridiculous. But then in other cases, I did pre-order Fallout New Vegas because the packs that they were coming with are items that you would not normally see in the game otherwise. They gave you some starter equipment you probably wouldn't have started with. You would normally start out with something a little different than what they gave you. And, you know, it's just a minor thing. Same thing with Brink. Gave you some, like, weapon camos or skins that were Fallout based. You know, things like that, they are not hurting you. Now, there's a lot of debate on whether you should pre-order a game because it could come out half-baked. It could be a terrible game. Once again, I really think that is up to consumers to do some research. Why would you not look at what you're buying and, you know, just assume it's going to be a full product? Assuming like that is what gets a lot of people into these situations. They don't do their own research. They listen to reviews, and that's where this comes in again. You have to do your own research when you are spending your money. If I'm spending $60, I want to know what it's going to, and I want to make sure it's something I can play and I want to have fun with. A lot of times I can look at gameplay videos and decide what I'm going to get. I did not get Dying Light. I did end up getting it for free, so I did play it a little bit, and I realized why I didn't get it, because I looked at it, it looked like repetitive gameplay, and then I played it, and it was repetitive gameplay. So, you know, you really, if you look at a game yourself and you try to judge it on your own instead of following what other people are setting up for you, then that's how you're going to have the most success. You will be able to find the good pre-orders, the bad pre-orders. You'll be able to find the good DLC, the bad DLC, and everything in between. You really just have to make an informed decision, which not a lot of people do anymore. Everybody has just gotten so lazy when it comes to these decisions. They want people to tell them what to get. And I know this isn't the popular opinion on the subject. I'll probably get a lot of hate over this, like I did on my pre-orders video, but that's really a lot of what the industry is. And of course there's some scumbag developers doing some scumbag things, and people are going to be pre-ordering just because they want the content that they can't get otherwise, and they don't want to buy it separately because, you know, money is scarce these days. And I get that. That is terrible, but the only way to stop that is to stop supporting that kind of thing. When you don't support that type of pre-order, eventually you'll get rid of that type of pre-order. But don't boycott all pre-orders because one was bad or you didn't like how some of them were handled. That's just stupid. You're destroying what can be used for good because it was not used for good at one point. And that happens a lot with DLC as well. Everybody hates DLC now. All DLC. You don't know how many times I've seen terrible things said about the Dragonborn DLC or Dawnguard because it was DLC. People didn't like it because it was DLC. Dragonborn was quality content. It added a ton of side quests to the game. Spells, armor sets, a few hours worth of story. I loved it. That was something I was glad I took $20 and purchased. And people are still angry where games come out with DLC like this. Now that Fallout's back in the spotlight again, Fallout DLC is in the crosshairs, and everybody is just slamming it because there's too many DLCs. I thought, you know, for the most part, Fallout DLC was quality. You get story, you get extra weapons, get extra areas to explore. I mean, why are people mad about DLC when it expands your game? Yes, it costs you extra money, but, you know, it costs them money to pay these workers to develop this, to add on to this game. A company has to make profit. They can't just keep expanding your game for no money. Now, once again, on the flip side, there's bad to this. The Sims. The Sims kept coming out with different furniture packs for $20 a pop, which is crazy considering how little you get with it. And they released, I think it was 27
of these packs, that is crazy. That is an abuse of the system when you're charging $20 for something that doesn't add a whole lot to your game and you're firing them out every other week. Of course there's good and bad sides to everything, but just because you don't like how some things are handled doesn't mean it's the whole system. Just because you don't like some DLC doesn't mean DLC is evil. Just because you don't like some pre-orders doesn't mean pre-orders are evil, and I really wish people would start understanding stuff like that more and really get the fact that their decisions are what matters. If you do your own research, you're going to be guided in the right direction the majority of the time. So everybody, just do your research. You'll be a lot happier with the product you get, and really look at what you're doing. Don't blame pre-orders for being terrible. Don't blame DLC for being an awful system. Just focus on getting the ones that are worthwhile. Because when it's worthwhile, it's a good product. It's quality. There's reasons for it to be there. Everything will be abused if it can be abused. It is our job to be vigilant and watch out for ones that take advantage. All corporations until the end of time are going to find a way to take advantage of consumers one way or another. If you really watch out for it, pay attention, then you will be perfectly fine. You don't have to be scared of these practices just because some are bad. So I definitely want to hear your guys' opinion on this. I know I'm probably going to get absolutely crucified in the comments again, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video, or at least have something to say. I always love communicating with you, even when you have a differing opinion than mine. That doesn't bother me at all. I actually like to hear the other side of the story. So please drop me a comment below. I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say. This has been Indie Swarm, and I'll see you in the next video.